Hello, Math 8 students. I hope that you're having a good Monday and that you had a nice restful weekend. It was beautiful outside. I hope you got to go out in the backyard, maybe the front yard, and get some good exercise. We did. It was lovely, and more sunny weather is yet to come this week. So it's good to live in California during this time, isn't it? Okay, well, let's say a prayer. Father in heaven, we just thank you so much for this day. I just pray for my students that they would stay healthy and safe. Lord, we trust you for our lives, and I pray for them that you would help them to focus and learn well. They would master all of this material easily and have great success on their test on this. And I pray for myself that you would give me the right words so that I can be the very best teacher I can for them right now. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, a couple things. We already finished chapter 11, and there will be a test this week on chapter 11, and I will send that either Thursday or Friday. Now, I'm concerned about you. I tried last week to have a tutoring Zoom session with my algebra class, and I ran into some technical difficulties. So I'm going to try to work those out this week. My goal is that we would have a Zoom meeting for tutoring for Chapter 11 by the end of the week so that if any of you are having any trouble, you can get your questions answered. Please pray for me about that because I got stopped last week. And but that test will be coming and tutoring is in the works. The next thing is that we are starting Chapter 12 today. Now, we're getting so that it's towards the end of the year, and we're only going to do part of Chapter 12 and part of Chapter 13, and we will combine them together into one test. So you will have your Chapter 11 test for April, and then you'll have a test in May for Chapters 12 and 13 combined together. So I hope that that helps you. And Chapter 12 is about data and probability and statistics. So we're going to start with different type of data displays today. So today's lesson is about something called a stem and leaf plot graph. Now there are a lot of different ways that you can display data. It's very important. If you ever watch TV, you can watch science programs, the news, history, all kinds of things, and they'll show you different types of graphs to display data, especially right now with the coronavirus. They're always showing us bar graphs and line graphs about what's happening in hospitals and with the death rate going up and coming down and hospitalizations going up and coming down, and it's all on data displays as they talk. So understanding these things is very important. And so we're going to start with, like I said, the stem and leaf plot graph today. I have attached to the email a worksheet, so please have that out and ready to go. All right, so we're going to take some notes, and I'm going to sit down, and you won't see me anymore. So I hope after I don't see you anymore that you have a great Monday. Okay, so here goes the projector, and we are going to do, this is lesson 12.1, and it's called the stem and leaf plot, worksheet. Okay, so this is one way to display data. All right, so we're going to define it, a stem and leaf plot, and that is a data display to help you see how the numbers or results are distributed. and it's useful for large sets of numbers. Okay? And we'll talk more about this in just a minute. But basically, it really shows you how the numbers are distributed. That is the best part of it. Now you have a little tiny space over to the right, and I want you to put steps. The steps for making a stem and leaf plot graph, okay? The first thing you do is you make your key. Now we'll explain what that is and how to define it as we move through the examples, but that's the first thing you do. The second thing is you make an unordered plot. Okay, so first your numbers are all out of order. You're just organizing them in the graph. And then the third thing you do is you make your ordered plot. So we put them in order. All right. Step 1, you make a key. Step 2, you make a stem and leaf plot that's out of order. It's just starting to organize the data. Step 3 is you take all of that information from the unordered plot and put them into order so that it's easy to read. All right, so you can pause the video if you like to make sure you wrote down all that information, but I'm going to keep moving. So while you're doing that, I'm going to write number 1. These are our examples. Hurdlers entering the 200-meter race at a track meet were ranked according to their qualifying times. Okay, and we need to make a stem and leaf plot display. So first we're going to have our unordered plot. Oh, let's write down all the numbers. So we have 28.6, 29.2 seconds, 28.1, 27.5, 29.8, 28.7, 30.2, 29.3, 28.3, 28.9, 29.9, and the last one is 28.4. Okay, so you can see that when you look at this list of numbers that's written out, it's very confusing and it has no meaning. It's really hard to compare. How many are in the 28-second range? How many are in the 30-second range? How far apart are they? So they're just a bunch of numbers, and there's just really no way to compare them and analyze them when they're in a list like this. So making a type of graph that will show us and give us meaning to the numbers is what stem and leaf plot is all about. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my key. So over here you will see that the key, you can see that down below. The key is very important, all right? And you can see in the example that every number is either 27, 28, 29, or 30 seconds. And they all have a number in the tenths place, okay? So when we're looking at the graph, we want to take that into consideration. So let's say I had this number, 28.6. Now, I'm going to be making a list. So just take it from me that what we're going to do is say that 28 is the two numbers on the left side of the bar, and the number on the right side is just 1, and it's going to be to the 10th place. Let's add this also. We're going to say 28.6 seconds equals 28 with a dash or a line there, and the 10th of the second is on the other side. Now you'll understand that more and doing that more as we move through the examples, but just take it from me, that's what the key means. Okay, so we're going to first have our unordered plot. All right, and I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to order all my numbers. Now when I look here, like I said, just by kind of gazing over all of them, glancing at all of them, I can tell I have 27 seconds, 28, 29, and 30. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to put 27, 28, 29, and 30. All right? Now this is considered the stem part of a stem and leaf plot. Okay? So that's kind of the anchor. And now I'm going to put the numbers on the other side of my bar will be my 10th place. Okay, so, and I'm going to list them all. So I'm going to go back up to my list here, and I'm going to find every number, whoops, I'm getting low on battery, every number that is in the 22nd place. So let's see, I only have one. It's right here, 27.5. So I want to show that on my data. So 27.5 is represented by 27 with the line and then the 5, on the other side. Okay? Now let's go down to 28. Let's look through my list. I've got this big list of numbers here. Which ones have 28 seconds? Which results? Well, here's one, 28.6. So I have 28, and then the 10th of a digit is over here. It's the 6. So that number is now represented in the graph. All right, let's look for any more that are 28 seconds. We'll look at the second one. I've got 28.1. So I want to represent 28 seconds and 0.1 second. So it's a 10th of a second here. So I've got 28 right here, and then 1 is out here. So I have my first number that has 28 seconds is 28.6. The second number that has 28 seconds is 28.1, and out here is where I am representing that second number with the 10th of a second. Okay, so now let's look at the next one that's 28. So I've got 28.7 here. So I already did that one. 28.7 would be 28, and then I would represent the 0.7 out there. So that's now on my graph. And here I have another 28, so 28.3. So I'm going to put this under 28.3. That's the 10th of the second. Oh, by the way, this is called the leaf here. Okay? Do I have any more? Yes, here's 28.9. So I'm going to have 28.9 here. And then the last one is 28.4. So I'm going to have 28 and then 0.4 out here. So do you see I've got 28.6, 28.1, 28.7 right here, 28.3, 28.9, and 28.4. So all those numbers that I crossed off up above are now listed in my unordered stem and leaf plot. But I'm not done. So I need numbers for 29. So let's see, I've got 29.2 up here. So I'm going to cross that off and put 29.2. And then I'm going to have 29.8. That goes here, 29.8. And 29.3. So I have 29 seconds and 3. And then I have 29.9. That would go here. Okay? And then my last number, my very last number, I only have one, 30.2. So that would go down here, 30.2. Okay? So this is my unordered stem and leaf plot. Okay? Now, in step 3, I go from my unordered plot to my ordered plot. And that is to the right on your worksheet, which means I'm going to put them in order from least to greatest. All right? So I'm going to rewrite my ordered plot. So I have my stem here. I'm going to have 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay, so up here, I only have one number seconds represented, so that just stays the same. Now, under 28, I want to take all of my numbers and put them in order from least to greatest. So first would be 1, then would be 3, then would be 4, then would be 6, 7, and 9. So do you see the difference between this and this? The unordered plot and the ordered plot is up here at the unordered plot. All my numbers are not in order. They're just being listed based on my list up here. Now they're put in order from least to greatest. Okay, so let's take the 29s and let's put those in order. So I've got 29.2, I've got 29.3, I've got 29.8, and 29.9. So again, all of my numbers up here are in random order, and down here they're now in order from least to greatest. And I've got my last one, which is 30.2. Now this was kind of a lot to take in, so if you want to pause the video here and go back and re-listen to what I said, feel free to do that anytime. Alright, now let's talk about this a minute. What does this show us? What this shows us when you look at the numbers is there's only one person, our leader, the winner, had 27.5 seconds. He was the fastest, alright? Most of the runners were in the 28-second range. And then the second most popular was 29 for this race. All right? And then there was only one person that had 30 seconds. Now it's crazy because from 27 to 30 seconds is so short. But when you're running a race, 10th and 100th of a second really matters. So can you see? Look here. There's a lot that you can learn about those numbers and the results of the race by looking at the numbers in an ordered stem and leaf plot that you just absolutely would not see up here. This is all crossed out now, but all those numbers just listed you don't know anything. Who is the winner? Who was the loser? How is everybody spaced out in between? Well, it's very easy to see when you have it ordered like this. All right, let's do number 2. Oh, I want to show you a video just to put it in context. Here is a hurdle race. Have you ever watched a hurdle race? You're going to see why the seconds are so important. Look at that. That guy in red, he's so fast! But they were all so close. That was the Olympics in 2012. Crazy, huh?
Writing's not that easy.
We don't want that.
Grammarly
Okay.
can help.
Whoa.
This sentence is grammatically correct.
Let's
it's
turn
wordy
this up.
and hard to read. It undermines the writer's...
Okay, all gone. Just like that. All right. Let's do number 2.
USPS drafting on it, Dad?
Make a stem and leaf plot. To show the length of the last 15 calls made by Sean in minutes. You can really learn a lot about your phone usage by making a stem and leaf plot. All right? Here's the results. 8, 12, oh, my computer just turned off. Let's see if we can get it running again. Sorry about that. I guess we're having a little technical difficulty. I will wait just a second and see if it works. Otherwise, I'll cut off the video. We'll see. My goodness, that's shocking when all of a sudden your screen goes away. Okay, it's coming up now. I'm going to enter my password. And we are back. Good. Didn't want to, have to start over. And we are back in business right now. Okay. 8, 12, 8, 17, 5, 28, 16, 23, 29, 14, 21, 34, 16, 28, and 31. Okay. So you can see that by just having a list, it's really hard to find out how often does he make short calls or long calls. What is the average length of a call? You just have all these random numbers and you can't figure it out. So we are going to now make a unordered plot. But of course, the first thing that we have to do is decide what the key will be. All right? This is how you do this for this example. Look at all the numbers. What do all the numbers have in common? Well, they are either a single digit or they are a double digit. Do I have any parts to a second? No. Do I have any calls over 99 minutes, which would make it 100 minutes, which would be a 3-digit number? No. So at most, I have 2 digits. So I want to show all of those. So for instance, let's say I had a 12-minute call. Here's my key. I'm going to have one number in the tens place to the left of my bar, and I'm going to have one number in the ones place to the right of my bar. Okay, so I have 2 digits to work with, and the tens digit will be on the left, and the ones digit will be on the right. Now, how did I decide this? As I just said, I looked at all the numbers and I saw they're either 1 or 2 digits. So that's where the difference is. That's how I'm going to be able to show them. So, for instance, even though I only have some numbers that have 1 digit, they would have a 0 in the tens digit, right? And then I have some numbers that have a 1 in the tens digit, see? And then here, this 8, this is just a single digit, so that would be a 0. And then I've got some numbers that have 2, and I have some numbers that have 3 as a tens digit. So all the calls are less than 34 minutes. So I've got some in the ones digit, some in the tens, some in the 20s, and some in the 30s. So here I've got ones digit, tens, 20s, and 30s. Okay, so these are the tens digit, and these are the ones digit. And that's how I can divide them up. All right, so now I'm going to look for all of my 1-digit numbers. Let's see, I've got an 8, a 5, and that's it. Now I circled those to highlight them for you. You don't have to circle them if you don't want to, but you do want to cross them off as you go so that you make sure you get every number into the graph in the right place. Okay, so I'm going to cross off the 8, and that goes there. Cross off another 8, because that only has 1 digit also. And then I'm going to cross off the 5. So I've got all my ones digit numbers on the graph now. Okay, so now I'm going to put all of my numbers that have a 1 in the tens digit. So let's see. I've got 12, 17, 16, 14, and 16 here. So all of those numbers are phone calls that were between 10 and 20 minutes, right? So I'm going to show that in my tens row, okay? So I'm going to put 12 here, 1 and then 2. Then I'm going to put 17 here, 1 and then 7. 16, 1, 6. 14, 1, 4. And 16, 1, 6, just like that. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is all of the calls that were in the 20s range. So let's see, 28, 23, 29, 21, 28. All of those numbers are in the 20s. So I'm going to represent 28 with 2 and then 8, 28. And then I'm going to take 23, 2, and then 3, 23. So you see my stem is the tens digits and my leaf is the ones digits. Let's keep going. I've got 29, 2, 9, 21, and that's it. So those are all of my 20s. And then what's left? I've got 34 and 31. All right. So that's my unordered plot. So now move to the right. You're going to put all of our numbers into an ordered stem and leaf plot. All right. So I still have 1, 2, and 3. So let's put these in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to have 5, 8, and 8. I'm going to put these numbers, least to greatest, 2, 4, 6, 6, and 7. I have to have both 6s because I had 2 calls that had an ending of a 6. So I have to show both calls. I can't just drop a call because that's all part of the data. There were 2 calls that were 16 minutes and I have to show both of them, not just one. All right, now I'm going to do 2 here in the 20s. So I've got 21, 23, 28, and 29. I'm just putting them in order. And then the 31 and 34 were already in order. So here's my stem and leaf plot. What can you see from this? Well, we can see that most of his calls were between 10 and 20 minutes. And even 20 minutes was another big chunk. So he only had very few calls that were in the 30s. So we're looking at this, and then that might help you decide what phone plan you want to use, depending on how many minutes that you need or you're going to have to pay for. Is it unlimited? How many minutes is he spending on his phone? Okay. All right, so that is your answer. That's our ordered stem and leaf plot. Let's do number 3. Make a stem and leaf plot of video game prices. All right, and here are my prices. 40, 27, 10, 19, 12, 24. Boy, these are cheap games, aren't they? Maybe they got them at GameStop because they're used, right? GameStop is great. Getting all new video games can be quite an investment for a teenager. That's a good reason to go get a job when you're 16, right? Or cut the lawn or do some chores to make some extra money. Okay, there's all our prices. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a key. So what you're going to do is look at all the prices. How many digits do I have? Every single price has 2 digits. So that means when I make my unordered plot, I'm going to have 10s and I'm going to have 1s. Okay? So if I'm going to make a key which shows how to read it, let's say I had $12 game. That would be 1/2. The reason why you need to do this is because somebody who comes along and is reading the stem and leaf plot, they need to know what it's about. What does 1/2 mean? If you give them a key like this, then they'll know, oh, 1/2